Welcome back to the Line in the Oath. 20 years in EMS, training over thousands of providers, and still the one people look to when it gets chaotic. Today we got Johnny DeOliveira, better known as Johnny D or 4007. Did I get that right?
You got that right.
Perfect. All right. So we've had John on before with a previous podcast we had. Obviously, we've rebranded. We're going to let John reintroduce himself and give us his background real quick before we get into the major context or content we have here tonight.
Man, you're going to make me talk about myself, and everyone knows I love doing that. So yeah, welcome. I'm so glad that you let me come back on the show. I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and we had a great time the first time. I hope
Two
that we
hours.
can, yeah, two hours of great time, which technically meant like 4 hours of uncut greatness
Yep.
until you know, I had to narrow it down a little bit. But hopefully we can have just as much fun and hopefully not bore everyone for the entirety.
I don't know. Half the
Um,
content we had last time we were not allowed. I was suggested by whatever service I was using, Facebook, whatever it was. It told me
sure.
not to post that content.
Listen, and you've been in EMS almost as long as I have, and the same concept. Like we unfortunately use that set of humor and banter that is acceptable and normal for us, but we cannot share with the public, and I'm okay with that. That's just it is what it is. It shows a level of compassion that we have for everybody else. But yeah, it definitely violates community standards, and it is what it is. But it's wholesome, and it's meant to be out of the love of our hearts too. So it is what it is. But no, thank you again for having me on. This is awesome. We've had a great conversation about the podcast and how it keeps evolving and the things we're trying to do. And I want to be as much of a part of this as possible. So thanks for having me. But yeah, as you said, I've been in EMS in New Jersey since 2005. Began as an EMT. I spent 10 years as an EMT between a local volunteer agency, a local paid municipal fire department that ran BLS, and then I also have been with my hospital-based service since 2006. And I evolved, grew with some instructorships, became an unofficial FTO back in the day. That was never really a thing. You were just kind of like the senior person, and you got stuck with all the new guys because they claimed you knew something because you've been around for a little bit of time. And then I went to paramedic school in 2015, between 2016, became a paramedic in 2016, and have bounced around a couple of urban areas and seen some phenomenal things, met some incredible people, ate some amazing things in my lifetime. We'll talk about, food as the lifeblood of EMS. Um, and then I've now transitioned over the last year into a paramedic coordinator position with our field training and performance team, where I've developed and now oversee our driver education program, where we kind of grow all of our brand new and new hire employees through programs like SIVO and EVOC, and support the rest of our 1,400 EMTs, paramedics, MAV operators, and critical care nurses in better driving behaviors. We already statistically have a much higher incidence of MVAs to begin with, but when you've got 1,400 people on the road, upwards of 300 units at a time, and we cover 9 out of 21 counties in New Jersey, the statistic gets higher. So I've been tasked with putting everybody back into pieces, into one big piece, and bringing everybody back to safety. So it's been a roller coaster of a 20 years, and this last year for sure has been an even crazier roller coaster because this guy also finally tied the knot with my beautiful wife, and she finally put up with me after so long and waiting for so long for it to happen. So, we got married over 4th of July weekend last year, and then got
Such a
promoted.
great time.
That was a hell of a party. The fact that we still talk about it almost a year later is kind of crazy, but and then I got promoted shortly thereafter. So just a lot of moving parts over the last 365 days. So I'm glad that we get a chance to take a step back, talk about it, and hang out a little bit.
So people know New Jersey's kind of a different monster.
Yeah.
What kind of service are you guys like? For instance, you guys are a two-tiered system.
Yep.
Explain what a two-tiered system is.
So we're this evil thing called the two-tier system. that the rest of the country, the majority of the rest of the country, doesn't subscribe to. So two-tier means that you have BLS service and you have ALS service. You have two BLS partners provided by everyone and anyone. So it could be a third party volunteer service, which is New Jersey was once very heavy in volunteer services. That's how most of us have come up into the service. That was if you will, like the minor leagues kind of deal, that you build your fundamentals, you learn how to do things, you learn how to make mistakes, you learn how to do them the right way, and then you gave back to the community. So it's provided by volunteer services, provided by municipal services, whether it's a true third service EMS system or a fire-based EMS system. And then it's also provided by hospital-based systems like the one that I work for, or even just any kind of private entity EMS. And then the second layer of that two-tier service is the ALS service. And in New Jersey, we operate as a dual paramedic unit. So it's myself and a partner, two paramedics always, or a mobile intensive care nurse. So our critical care nurses, aside from having their RN, BSN, and other certifications required, they also have to go through a program offered by the state in order to make them a mobile intensive care nurse. So they would learn intubation, our protocols, and a lot of the skills, cricothyrotomy for that example, that nurses normally don't handle. So once they get that training, they can then also staff an ALS unit. And in New Jersey, ALS units are solely operated by a hospital system per our legislation and our regulations. Um, you can argue that that's terrible. It should be county based, like a lot of the services are throughout the country. We can argue that it's the greatest thing ever because we have immediate and direct communication and connection with our clinical staff. So my medical director, and then all the physicians that are part of our staff, including the fellows, and then our EMS physicians that come out on the road with us, are one click away on my phone. We can sit back and play this ping pong game over and over again. But the most important part is it works for us here in New Jersey. Doesn't necessarily mean it works for anybody else in the country, but it could absolutely work for somebody else. So it is what it is. But yes, New Jersey operates with you get an immediate BLS dispatch for every 911 assignment, and then through the EMD process, you can then upgrade to an ALS, get a second unit, or they can be requested as the assignment progresses.
I'm excited to move to a two-tiered system. If my listeners don't know, I'm moving to Delaware soon. They are a
Welcome
two-tiered
back, buddy.
system. I will be very close to Mr. John. We're gonna have to see each other more often. But
What a terrible
today,
thing.
I officially resigned from my current job with the current company I'm with. That I'm working till the beginning of July, and from there moving to Delaware and starting my new career in August. Same
That's
career,
amazing.
new area.
And it doesn't matter where you go, the job is the same. Protocols may differ a little bit. The uniform definitely is going to change, but the clientele, the environment, the behavior, the coworkers, no matter where you go in the world, in emergency services and in pre-hospital care, it is all the same. So it's gonna be an awesome new opportunity for you, but don't feel too isolated, because at some point it's gonna click and be like, I didn't feel like I left home at all.
That's what I'm hoping. It's gonna be a big adjustment. I know that for sure,
Absolutely.
especially for my wife and kid. But we're gonna be near family, so that does help. I'm gonna
Very so.
ask you the first kind of hard hitting question.
Hit me with
What
your
do
best shot.
most what do most new EMTs and medics get completely wrong?
Being humble.
Yeah.
Being humble and getting out of their own way. Y As an EMT and then as a paramedic, you end up having this newfound set of skills, knowledge, understanding of the world, and you just wanna do it. Failing to realize that what you don't know is what you don't know. So you don't know that you don't know everything. You don't know that you haven't experienced life and haven't experienced anything. So you're just ready to go, 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 and you fail to take a step back. So you fail to see what your partner has to offer you, fail to see what the patient has to offer you. Because if you're not learning from your patient, you're missing something also. I say this because I did it myself, as a brand new as a brand new EMT in 2005. I'm like, oh, I've got all this info, and they taught me, so it must be it. And I missed so many things until working with seasoned paramedics and seasoned EMTs, going, oh, slow down, kid. Open your eyes, close your mouth, let your ears do the work, and take it all in. Same thing as a paramedic. You just want to go, and I want to treat the SVT, and I want to give them fluids, and I want to do all these fun things, and not realizing that sometimes taking a step back to see the bigger picture is what's going to get you the most information out of everything. So, yeah, being humble and just taking that step back is something that we all miss because we're just so excited to get out there. And we see a lot of that in field training where they want to go and go, and it's like, yes, keep that motivation, but let's kind of bring it down a hair and let's slow it down. My one of my many mantras, and I keep saying I have 20, I have 30, I have 50, I have 1,000. They're kind of like the Agent Gibbs rules out of NCIS. They all kind of just start kind of getting made up as we go. But one of my mantras is, slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Mhm.
So yes, go, go, go. And we have to kind of do, kind of warp speed on some things, but take a step back, take that extra second. You might get that IV. You might see that underlying cause that we just didn't notice beforehand.
And to be fair, we're even veteran medics, EMTs, we're still learning every day.
You have to.
You have to. If you're not learning, then you're done with the career.
Yeah, if you're
Plain
unwilling, if
plain
you're I'm sorry, not just unwilling, but if you're unable to learn something new, that I think is a time when it's time to go. Whether you've been in the business for 40 years or for 4. Um, you're not meant to be here forever, but at the same time, this might not be your calling. You might be better suited for nursing. You might be better suited for an RT position, whatever the case may be. 40 or 4. The moment you stop learning or you stop feeling like you're taking something in, time to hang up the stethoscope and kind of move
So,
along.
how long does it take you to know if someone's not gonna make it?
Almost immediately, but you give them the benefit of the doubt because there's going to be that one or two that shocks you a little bit. Um, we had a very young, very motivated EMT many, many moons ago. Um, he came to us, thought he knew everything, wanted to overshadow his FTOs because he's had something to prove. So we're working. It's a November weekend, a couple weeks after Halloween. We're called to one of our lower income apartments for the unknown medical. What we end up finding out is there is a resident who's hanged themselves off of their balcony on the backside of the building. And initially, what started out with, they thought it was an overdue Halloween decoration.
I remember the story from Savannah.
Somebody then went, wait a minute, that isn't right, and finally called 911. So we're walking through the parking lot. We hit the back fence. My partner and I kind of do one of these, and we're like, oh, yeah, there she is. And now we're like 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's on the 4th floor, but we got to go to the 3rd floor to go get her. And the EMT is now kind of like throwing elbows to get through the crowd. Gets to the fence, jumps over, and he is a much more olive-skinned individual than I am. And he goes pure white. Color drains. He is now white knuckling the fence and is just now frozen by the image that he's got in front of him. So I was a ALS FTO. His partner was a BLS FTO. We kind of gently, removed his hands off the fence, and we guided him back into the ambulance. Said, "You're going to sit here for right now. We're going to go do what we have to do." And we went up to the 3rd floor, knocked on the apartment, brought her into the apartment, brought her out, took her to the hospital just because we couldn't pronounce her in someone else's apartment, unfortunately. Um, and we had this really good debrief afterwards where he ended up needing about an hour to just kind of cool off and recenter himself. But he went on to have a fantastic career. He became a ICU nurse, an ER nurse, and now he's back to working with us as one of our critical care nurses. So, it took and I have another rule. You have an oh shit moment in your career and you have an oh fuck moment. And in your career. And I think he bypassed all of those and went to, straight plaid on that one. Um, and all of a sudden his world changed and he became significantly more humbler than when he first started. And he has done wonders for himself since. So it happens, you know.
So you were a training officer for how long?
Oof. Since 2018, so 8 years officially. I've been training people for most of my career.
So is being calm a trainable trait, or some people just aren't built for being calm?
Yes, yes, to a point. Um, cool, calm, collect takes time. Some are born with it, maybe it's Maybelline, some might just have it in them. Others, it does take, time to retrain your nerves and retrain your response to life. And some are just off the damn wall that you kind of need that kind of yin and yang kind of deal. You need chaos to balance chaos in a sense. Um, you know, plenty of situations where they are just itching and you're kind of like reeling in the leash a little bit. And you're like, bro, you can't do that. You need to take this back a notch. And they just don't learn. And so they've been redirected into new careers. But then there are others who have gone into it. You've pulled the reins back a little bit and said, you need to knock this off, slow it down a little bit. You're missing things. And all of a sudden you see the change in their demeanor. So yes, it is trainable to a point, but human human emotion is something that's very difficult to play with. So you just have to be very careful because if you calm them down too much, now we kind of cross the line into bottling up our problems, not being able to express them properly, and then going down that very deep rabbit hole of mental health issues that we unfortunately see a lot of. So there's a very healthy way of, yes, training our emotional response to be professional, but then also being able to have that outlet. So it can be trainable, yes.
So then, what does a real calm actually look like on a scene?
It's fluid. It's not a black and white, you are calm as you walk in. I talk about it all the time. Command presence is what we look for. It's not necessarily calm because the moment you walk through the door and either people recognize you, people know what you offer, people know what the resources that you're bringing, that might be the calming effect they need.
Mhm,
Um, you might have to walk in screaming, "Get off the goddamn wall! Get off the stretcher! Stop climbing!" Like you might have to be assertive, but then at the
mhm.
same time, you might just have to take the customer service route. "Hi, ma'am. I'm so sorry this is going on. Can we, take you out of this space and put you in a more controlled environment that's safe, private, in the air conditioning, and we can have a better conversation. We can talk about what's going on today and how we can better help you." Um, it is very much indicative of the situation that you're walking into. Um, I've jumped in to wrestle drunken Santa Claus with a police officer. He was thankful that we showed up because it was getting to a point where he was getting tired, and this very belligerent individual was now reaching for his gun.
Oh,
Yeah. So while we did not bring calm, we jumped in and raised some absolute hell. It brought calm to the officer because now he knew he had the extra resources in the hands to manage the situation. But at the same time, then I had the unhoused individual living on someone's porch with her cart and the rest of it. And she was being asked to leave and she was raising all sorts of hell. The BLS couldn't handle her. The cops couldn't handle her. They called me as a supervisor at the time and I walked in and we're just trying to have a conversation. And I'll never forget, she pulled out these hand painted chucks of SpongeBob. One was yellow SpongeBob, the other one was pink Patrick. And she just put them on the deck and I'm like, "Ma'am, those are the coolest sneakers I have seen in my life. Where did you get them?" And all of a sudden, disarmed and goes, "I painted them myself." What? And all of a sudden, just the conversation changed on a dime. So Yeah, what brings calm is very different to the
Mhm.
individual and very different to the situation, but it's all about command presence. That's what really dictates where that calming effect kind of flows from there.
I still wanna stay on the subject of FTO and
Yeah.
training. What's wrong with how we train EMTs and medics today? And it might not be as bad as it used to be when COVID was a thing, because in my opinion, we were pushing out EMTs and medics way too fast in the field at that time. I don't it might have changed over time. I'm getting a new EMT Friday. What advice do you have for me?
Just be calm with them. We came out of the womb, didn't even crawl, couldn't even raise our heads. You can't expect them to sprint as they get in. Um, I don't think I don't think we're necessarily doing anything wrong. What's granted, the education is so much different than what it was 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Um, they're learning things that we didn't learn and that we had to figure out as we went on, had to take CEs, go to conferences, see the specialized speakers in order to learn. That's now part of the curriculum today. So we can't say that the education is bad. No, the education is actually getting better. Um, it's going to end up being the individual. I have partners who came out of a program 10 years ago that was being shut down because they were horrendous and violating every single statute set forth by the Office of EMS. But they're rock star paramedics. But then I have people who have gone to the best program and have failed out, plagiarized their work,
Oh,
done questionable things, and they are not paramedics to this day. So I can't say the system is doing things wrong. It's definitely up to the individual. But I won't say that there aren't bad programs out there. I won't say that there are, quote unquote puppy mills where we're just, hey, I'm going to take your money. Here's a 3-month crash course and good luck. And we're
I
not really
mean,
preparing people.
do you think you could pass today's NR? Because I don't know if I could.
Ooh, I didn't think I could pass the current, the time that I went through. I'm literally, I remember, and I will remember, I say this all the time. I'm going question by question. Um, Mouthing what the fuck because there was so much material on there that I didn't remember covering, and I had to use power deduction and kind of like the skill of reading the exam kind of deal. And then when it finally shut down, I was like, okay, this is it. I failed. We're done. No, I'm never going to become a paramedic. We're done. And all of a sudden we passed. So do I think that I could pass? Sure. I'd be willing to try, but I know for a fact that I'm definitely not going to try and retest it if I don't have to.
I'm gonna
I
tell you that test does not make you the medic who you are, because
No, no.
I failed that test 4 times. It
Well,
was always operations. I failed that test 4 times. That does not make you the medic who you are.
no.
That test is honestly, that test is just weird. It gives you 4 or 3 right answers, and it goes, "What is the best answer?"
Which is the most right?
I have a current friend right now who's struggling on the test,
Mhm.
who failed it 3 times. I told him, "Dude, look at the medic." I have an FPC now. Look at the medic I became. Don't let that test derail you.
No,
It's
unfortunately, it's the only
it
way of
you'll still be a
actually
great medic.
agreed, yeah. It's unfortunately the only way of it's the litmus test. It's the only way of actually making sure that you're competent.
Right.
That
And
removes
not
all
any either.
bias,
'Cause to me, if you've been an EMT for 20 years, you're set in some pretty hard ways, especially each state is different in its
right,
own ways.
right.
That NR test, and again, it's only my opinion, I believe is super unfair, but it shows the minimum so-called competence of what you're supposed to know. I still think there's other ways. And again, the test, who's ever failed that test, to any of the listeners, that test does not make you out to be whatever medic your future is gonna be.
Oh, 1,000% I agree with that. I've had partners who have also failed multiple times, and they're great people because they can manage the people and they can manage the medicine properly. Unfortunately, it's what's available to us. Nursing does the exact same thing. They have that same style of examination. That's where we got it from. that's just what we have to do in order to get through the program with that. And that removes bias, because imagine, we're just going to be sitting around a panel of other paramedics like, yeah, this guy's cool. Oh no, he's a dick. He's fail. And that's why, that's part of the reason why they've kind of updated how the National Registry kind of does their stuff.
Mhm.
Um, which I don't necessarily agree with, but no, the test does not make you who you are.
Well, that also brings me to another point, like, I've seen people pass it on their first try,
And they're
and
terrible.
they are terrible medics.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So you have two paramedics. You have the cookie cutter and you have the clinician. Um, those who can pass the test just like that, no thought process whatsoever. They get hundreds on every exam through school. They can complete all the paperwork, yada yada yada. But then you stick them in front of an actual patient, and they have a moment,
Mhm.
and it takes them a little longer to get the engine moving forward to get them through. And then you have the people who just don't test well, and there's a lot of us that just don't test well. Who then you put them in front of a patient, they can open the dialogue. They can now get their whole life story. They can find out the little nuances that have caused the issue that they're currently dealing with, and are not just treating by the medicine, but they're treating by the patient themselves also. And unfortunately, I think that's just how the cookie crumbles. That's just the way the world spins. Is you're going to get people who can read black and white, and then you have the people who swim in the gray. Like many of us, you can do it, I can do it. We swim in the gray because we know it's not just one or the other. There's just so many more options. So no, the test does not make who you are. Um, but kind of back to what we were talking about, the education is not worse. The education is better. It's harder. It's more in depth. There's so many more categories and chapters that they're covering, because we're getting more and more into the potential future of getting a degree out of this, and really making this a career, kind of like nursing has. What differs is the individual. Oh, that generation coming in. There are different generational aspects and qualities that we have to fight through. Um, and then it also does become in the way that we prepare our young. So when I became an EMT, it took me 3 months of being on a truck to truly get comfortable. And what made me go and say, yep, I'm ready to go, was one of the paramedics I work with literally physically grabbed me by the back of the neck, handed me an ice pack for a patient who's having a nosebleed, goes, crack this, speak to them, and put it on their nose, while like holding my neck on the bench seat of the ambulance. And I just crack it on my knee, shake it up, wrap it in a blanket, in a towel, and I say, "Ma'am, I'm one of the EMTs. I'm here to help you." All the dumb stuff they teach you in school. And I'm like, I'm just gonna place this on the bridge of your nose so we can start slowing down. And all of a sudden it started flowing, and then it kind of went from there.
That's
So
crazy because knowing you as a person who's Mr. Mayor.
I know it's crazy. Like, John didn't want to talk to somebody. No, I was very shy, very early in my career. Um, and I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want, and not that I didn't want to help them. I just didn't know how to break the ice. I didn't know how to
I
just say
think with that
hello.
experience, you get that confidence to be able to
Agreed.
start talking
I
to
had
people.
I had zero confidence as a brand new EMT, and that's because I wasn't allowed to have it. I wasn't, it wasn't built into me. Who I was with was kind of like, all right, jump in the back of the truck. We're going on jobs. They weren't guiding me into doing that. So I'm not saying handhold, but build your new guy up, support him in their decisions, give him enough rope, but then make sure that you can let them do the thing. My old partner, you met, I believe, Matt, when
Mhm.
we were down in DC. He was our groupie for our honor guard, and within a year or so of us working together, we had a brand new medic who, very similar, had no confidence in her demeanor, had no confidence in her skills. We walked in, and from the front door, I could hear the CHF gargling from the distance. We knew what we were doing. Gonna throw a CPAP on him, hit the nitrates, pick him up, and leave. She walked in, sheepish. Hi, sir. I'm one of the paramedics. I'm here to help you. What's going on today? And my partner is like, give me the CPAP. I'm like, no, Matt. He's like, give me the CPAP. Like, he's getting angry with me. He's like, give me the CPAP. And I'm like, Matt, I need her to break out of this without me yelling at her. And finally, like, 5 seconds later, she goes, I think he needs a CPAP. I'm like, fantastic. I threw it at her. I'm like, put it on the man, and so you need to give them that encouragement to say, yes, you've earned the patch, not just by minimum competence like the schools tell you, but you've earned a degree, you've earned a certification and licensure, fucking use it. Get past
I
yourself. Do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost afraid since I'm going to a new service, I'm gonna get a little sheepish again because I don't know these people.
That's
And I
common.
don't
That's
want
fair.
to because they might do things completely different how
Mhm.
I've been doing things in my area for the last 10 years. So I am a little married. I am a little worried that I'm going to get a little sheepish the first, I don't know, month or so
Yeah.
until especially it's a whole new system for me. I have no idea how a two-tiered system works. Never been a part of that. So that's a whole nother thing I have to learn.
And that's expected. And to be honest with you, that tells me that you care. Having a little bit of fear, having a little worry and concern that you want to do it the right way and make sure that you learn tells me that you want to be there. You're interested in this. This is very important for you. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back, being quiet, and using your eyes and your ears to take stuff in first. Did the same thing when I got promoted. I didn't know anything about administration. Yeah, I knew how to be a supervisor on the road, still doing patient care, but I had no idea of what it was like to be at a desk managing programs and projects and leading from the other side. So yeah, it was a very slow, kind of start for me too. It's because you want to learn. If you just roll in like the Kool Aid Man, beating down the door, you're not giving yourself a chance to learn. And I think I say this all the time. There's a million ways to skin a cat. There are definitely some that are significantly more efficient than others. So you can fall back on your experiences. No, I don't even think fall back is a good answer, is a good word or statement, but use your experiences to build onto what they might have to offer you. And then you will learn, hey, maybe this is a better way than what I was doing, or I can blend the two and kind of run with it, and gives you an edge. Because I will say it right now, the people who have other experiences, whether it's life experience, professional experience, you have a different perspective on your patient and a different perspective on culture. You add a level up, if you will, on how to bring that care to that individual. So I think you're going to bring something to that department that not a lot of other people have, and now you get to absorb what they have to offer you. You see it from both sides.
Did I tell you the application process for this new position? I'm not gonna
We
say where it's at, but
Yeah, we briefly touched on it, and, how much you have to travel, go back and forth, and
hold on. So I'm going
yeah,
back
hit me up.
May 19th. I'm flying back to New York to drive down with my father-in-law.
Yeah.
I got the paperwork. Dude, the background check's insane because they're also part of like a police entity. So the EMS division and police they're kind of the same thing.
It's a
And
public safety department. Yeah, there's
yeah,
gonna be
it's a
so much to it.
governmental agency. Normal background check, fine. The parts that get me are the relationships that you have to put down. I've been with my wife since 2012. So I go to my PD department because they do these kind of things. I'm like, how
Sure.
far back do they want me to go? Like, oh, they want the high school relationships. I was like,
Jesus.
they're married. I've been with my wife for like 15 years. Like, they want further than that.
Oh, Sally Mae kissed in the closet for, 7 seconds in heaven.
I was like, and then it wants their number and where they live. I'm like, I don't have their contact information. Like, I don't understand how you want me to get this info. So like that's part of it. They put you through a PT test, not
Okay,
hard.
fair.
60-minute mile,
Yeah,
14 push-ups and 22 sit-ups in like a minute and a half. Mm, For me, that's easy. They
you
also
tell 'em.
do, I guess, like a psychology test.
Mhm.
They want to see if you have like the Oedipus Rex complex. They more want to see how you react to the questions.
Yes, it's all about reactions, not your answer, it's your reaction. Yep.
So that's going to be interesting. So when I go in the morning, go to PT test. From there, I have to go to an oral examination.
Oh, wow.
From there, a written examination.
Mhm.
And the oral examination, I think, has 3 FTOs that ask you questions about physiology, scene, safety, all that stuff. Then they want me to go do a write out because they want you to see how the system works.
Oh, so they're actually gonna take you on a truck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's not something you see every day.
The beginning stuff is like I think will take 4 hours out of my day,
Sure.
and that's the other thing. I told and they were really nice. They were super anybody that's at the HR department I talked to, they answered me quickly, concise. They were super friendly, which does not happen often.
And that's a great confidence builder early on too, because you can
Yeah.
absolutely be turned off by that first interaction.
I told them, "What do I need for PT?" They're like, "Just wear normal PT clothes." Then they want me to go into a suit. They're like, "You can wear just normal clothes, but we usually do business,
Mhm.
your best attire for
Yeah,
these," but they usually do it different days. Well, I'm there for 1 day, and they're accommodating me, which is
that's
really
awesome.
cool. So I will be in PT clothes, a suit, and then my write outs, my BDUs. So
You're a chameleon.
I'll be in 3 different outfits. I'll get sweaty, get nice, and then get sweaty again.
Make sure you got some good cologne with you, buddy. Yeah, listen, you're a chameleon. You get a chance to see it. And to be honest with you, though, now that I see it on the other side of the fence, because we also do a lot of recruitment, there are so many people who think something is great, and then they start going through the process. They get out, and they're like, "Oh, this is not what I thought at all," and they're completely disenchanted by what it actually is. So you now have an opportunity, and I know you're so excited to be here, and I am giving you all the positive vibes in the world, but you also now have a chance to take a look at their flow for the day, and it gives you the confirmation, "Yeah, you're right. I'm excited for this."
I'm really hoping that's not the case because they have a lot of cool opportunities that I've
Yeah.
been wanting to be a part of my career. I've been stuck in rural EMS where there's no room for improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
This has a lot of venues that I can improve in. Plus, all the side stuff I do in my life that I've
Absolutely.
been a part of. I'm excited about the extra things I get to do now, like a possible tactical team,
Mhm.
a search and rescue team, being part, even though and we'll bring this up later, we have our honor guard. I'll get to be part of a entity's honor guard again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think and that's it's amazing when you find a department that has all these extracurriculars, and I call them extracurriculars, not to detract from them, but it's just easier to have this conversation because our main focus is always patient care, but it's amazing when you have a department that has all these extracurriculars. And then you look at departments that don't, and you see the difference in the quality of your provider. Do they love going to their job? Are they on time? Are they early? Their behavior. And I see it up here in New Jersey. We have entities that just strictly offer EMS. But then we have entities that offer a tactical team, that offer honor guards, that offer search and rescue, that are part of the New Jersey EMS task force. And you have these alternate avenues and these outlets to do more than just the mundane 911, grandma fell, chest pain, difficulty breathing, pronouncement. You shake up the daily grind and you actually can bring more out of you as a provider and as a clinician to do more. And I think that's like you said, you've been kind of, limited to where you are and what you're doing. So now you have the ability to kind of blossom a little bit and to do some really cool stuff. I agree. I think this opportunity is phenomenal for anybody who's willing to do it. I think it's great for you as well. I'm a little biased because it brings it closer to me now.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
I'm
agree.
excited for that.
Being able to do so much more than just, all right, I'm doing my 911 job. Oh, I'm doing the interfacility. I'm doing, your usual. No, it breaks up the offering as a clinician. So
And don't
this is
get
gonna
me
be
wrong,
great.
rural EMS is hard
Yeah,
because I've worked in Amarillo and you have 14 to 18 calls a day and you run into some stuff, but you have a ton of help. Rural EMS, it's you and your partner, and sometimes it's you and an EMT, and I'm a medic with your EMT, and then you're getting your medic. They can only do so much, unfortunately.
yeah, you're limited to the resources you have at hand. And listen, you can even have that great rapport. I have friends that work in Florida who work that one-on-one system, and they as paramedics have built up their EMTs to be almost like a second partner. But
Yeah.
if you get lucky enough to have that, that's phenomenal because then you have that extra kind of wall to lean on. But if you're stuck with somebody who's just willing to drive for you and not really interested in doing much else, yeah, it's me, myself, and I. And you're now kind of hoping for the best. I mean, what's your minimum transport time to a hospital?
Right now, most of our calls are in town, so 10 minutes.
Ooh,
We
that's
do
nice.
take a lot of transfers. That being said, we're level 4 in our town. We
Sure.
do take a lot of transfers, which if I'm taking a vented patient with 6 different drips, guess what? I'm by myself. Those flight medics and other critical care systems, they have a couple critical care people with them.
Right.
I am by myself running that stuff by myself, sometimes with an EMT. Luckily, thank God, Dalhart, Texas, we're heavy on medics. So my main partner, who is one of my closest friends, is also a medic, and he's a damn good medic. So I don't have to worry about stuff with him. But that's not always the case.
Right.
So most of the time I get to run medic because we're medic heavy.
Cool.
But
Which is
even our
our usual.
EMTs are good because of who we have to train them, us and Dalhart,
Uh-huh.
and how much we trust them. And we're a close knit family in Dalhart. We actually care for each other. You don't find I'm gonna miss Dalhart when I move because I don't know if I will find that again.
I think you will. We it's funny you say that. So when I first began in 2006, our hospital had maybe about 150 staff. Most were paramedics because it was a paramedic heavy department. But there was like 50 EMTs to like 100 medics, and um, we were that close knit community. We were friends. We hung out after work. We went to each other's homes. We went to each other's weddings. Yada yada yada. There was a whole table at my wedding from my old department, and half of them no longer work with us. We've all kind of spread out and done our thing, but we all still kind of hang out, and we still keep in touch. So we had that, and then we got merged into this much larger system. While we kind of separated a bit and kind of got into the blend of the large corporate EMS flair, we come to realize that all the other departments that were once smaller systems had that same family feel. And we then started bringing it to our regions. And so while, you know, now we have 1,400 people, I don't know every single one of them. But when I go to specific regions, I can tell you that we're still very much homegrown and family. Another table of my current coworkers from my last post, we'd only been there for 3 years, and we had worked together in those 3 years as if we'd known each other for 20. So yeah, I 1,000% agree with you. You've got this small, close knit group who has been there for you for everything. You've been there for them with everything. You're gonna find that there. It may not be the whole department, but it might be station 2 or station 25. However they kind of set up their stations, you're going to find that little itty bitty connection. I've seen that as we've grown to the department that we are, that it remains in small clusters. And it's also up to you too. If you bring that feel, I think you're going to start like encouraging other people to be, oh, I remember those good days. Let's get back to that wholesome feel. Let's do, Sunday barbecue. Let's do Sunday, takeout, whatever the case may be. And we're all sitting around. We used to do Sunday Uno. We
Sunday Uno.
Yeah, so our pitman schedule was every other weekend. We would do a 3-day weekend. And Sunday, we would all be at Station 1, our main station, and it would be Sunday Uno. And just like Monopoly, you lose friends. It is what it is. You push people. Let me tell you, when you rock four, plus fours in a row, and you screw somebody with 14 fucking cards, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, it brought us together. We ate together. We did everything together, and we were that small little close to the family at Station 1. So it is. I think I agree with, like, you're gonna have that worry, you're gonna have that concern, but you'll still find that energy.
Well, hell, even speaking of friends, you find friends outside of your agency. Look at well, we'll use you and I as an example, and we could even dive a little bit deeper into it because we have all night. Your wife's at work, and I have no time schedule, so this might be one of our long episodes. I only have known you for what are we on year 5
Yeah.
now?
Officially 5. We've known each other longer though.
We okay. Should we tell that story first?
We'll get to that in a second. Go follow that path, and we'll get to that.
Honor Guard. I want to segue into this right. I joined Honor Guard not knowing the kind of friendships I would make out of it.
Agreed.
I ended up going to DC, and I believe it was 2022,
Mhm.
and I've made some of my closest friends out of it after that year. John being one of them. Eric
Uh,
Phillips, the national commander, being another one of those.
yes.
Jeremy Markham out of Portland, Oregon, being another one of those. What did we just go do, John? Like, we
We took
took
a
a friend trip with our wives to Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia, for a little banana
We
ball
don't even
excitement.
none of us even live near each other.
No, I agree with you.
How often do people find that?
You find people in the weirdest places, and I agree with you in the sentiment that, yeah, I joined the honor guard, not knowing really what the full aspect of the team and the culture was, but more importantly, I didn't know who I was going to meet along the way. And at the time, I also thought I was just going to stick around in Jersey. You know, hey, we're a New Jersey-based hospital EMS system. Like, there's no way we're gonna be on a national level. And then we get introduced to DC, and we get introduced to all of these phenomenal people from across the country, and even to our north, to Canada. Hi,
Oh,
Paul.
that's right. Mr.
Um,
Paul Carson. Shout out to Paul Carson.
and who would have thought that we would communicate with each other and stay connected to any stretch of the imagination. But then, more importantly, here we are 5 years later of this connection, and the six of us, out of just happenstance, go, "Hey, you guys want to go somewhere? Let's go somewhere. Why don't we do Savannah? Go catch a Savannah Bananas game, and let's go enjoy the city." And I agreed. Who thought that was going to happen? I just thought, I'm going to be in a uniform. We're going to go to people's funerals. We're going to support their families. We're going to support their coworkers. We're going to be there for the department. We're going to do all these, very official things. Maybe I'll get some cool patches and coins out of it.
Oh, yeah. We'll go
We'll dive into
more
that.
into
But
that.
who the hell thought that we were going to be building this bond to where, like, I love seeing your daughter when we go to DC, like, and watching her grow. And same thing with, Eric's kids, like watching the girls grow and become the young ladies that they are now. Like,
Mhm.
what are the chances that that was exactly what was going to happen when we decided we're going to go to DC and do the National EMS Memorial Service and represent not only our state, but our nation, and then our brothers and sisters who've gone before us paying the ultimate price. Did not, at no point would I have put money on saying we're going to go to Savannah and we're going to go meet, Jesse Cole and the Savannah Bananas and do our thing.
Side note, please, because you'll tell it way better than me. Tell the story about the ghost tour and how it ended.
I was just talking about this. So, if you don't know, Savannah, Georgia is considered one of the most haunted cities in America because the entire city is essentially a burial ground, from its Native American roots through the Revolution, through the Civil War, and then their expansion. There were just bodies everywhere, essentially, the way that they explained it. So, of course, we had to do a ghost tour. And we signed up for one that was based out of a group that were actual paranormal investigators. They're not just a hokey tourist trap kind of deal. These guys actually had, time on TV. They had their own show kind of deal. So it showed a little more legitimacy for, an actual kind of ghost tour. So we start the tour, and this is my favorite part. This is the second favorite part of it. As we're walking to meet this tour guide in one of their 20 something parks, it's 9:30 at night. We're running late. It's dark as hell. And there's this very eerie figure in the distance. He's in a hoodie, just standing in the middle of the park. And my wife, who is a Chihuahua, she is loud, mean, and aggressive, but yeah, give a little pressure. And she's like, ah, she's now looking at me, kind of beelining it for this guy, because I have a good intuition that this has got to be the guy. What random person sitting in the middle of a park when you were told to meet there for a tour? And I'm kind of moving in that direction, and she's physically trying to restrain me from going near the stranger, because and literally, I think in my ear, she's going, "John, stranger danger, stranger danger." And I'm like, "Babe, I think it's okay." And the tour was called the Afterlife Tour, or something to that effect. And as I got closer, he clearly catches on that I'm kind of beelining it to him. And he looks, and in his kind of eerily voice, I go, "Are you part of the afterlife?" Kind of like to break the ice a little. And he's like, "I am. Don't be scared." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. We're here." And Nancy's even more freaked out that he was like so creepy about this. So, we start the tour. He's showing us video clips, audio clips of their investigations, and really eye opening. It was a really awesome historical tour. Also, it wasn't just a ooh boo ghost kind of thing. So we kind of got some history out of it. So that was fun. And then, as we're touring, we get get a nice historical tour of the city. We end up at our final stop across the street from our hotel. And we purposely booked at the Marshall House. It is an old Savannah staple. And I knew there was going to be some, Civil War history and a bunch of it to it, but at no point did I think it was going to be part of the ghost tour. So we pull up and I had booked the tour online, whatever. I'm staring and I'm like, there is no fucking way this dude is stopping right here and staring at our hotel because our hotel's on this tour. And he goes, and our final stop is the Marshall House. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You
I
want me to
swore you set that up, dude.
So, and then it gets even better. So Tony started looking at me like, oh my God, dude, what did you tell this guy? And I'm like, no, whatever. So he's like, well, most hotels in the Savannah area during the Civil War were taken over by the Union. They were turned into hospitals. They were performing amputations, medical procedures, so on and so forth. A lot of people died. So there are definitely some spirits with some unfinished business that are just kind of floating around. And he goes, but the Marshall House is not the most haunted. It's actually kind of light. And we're like, oh, okay, that makes me feel better that we're not in like some horrific place. He goes, yeah, you'll hear children running up and down the hall. You'll hear a cat meowing on the third floor. We're like, all right, we're not on the third floor. Cool, it's great. And he goes, but on the fourth floor. Now, Eric and myself and Nancy are on the fourth floor. You guys are on the third floor. Now the four of us look at each other like, oh no. Now what? Because while on the fourth floor, it is said that in room 414, Nancy looks at me and goes, oh, thank God, we're in 412. I'm like, what are the chances? And Anna looks at Eric, looks at me, and goes, fuck, we're in 414. And I'm like, oh no, oh my God, they are. And he goes, in 414, a young woman died. And now Eric is looking dead at me, into my soul, staring at me, going, you motherfucker, you set this up, did you not? And I'm like, no. I have zero part in this. All I did was pay the man, and that's it. Like, there was no communication. Because in 414, a young lady died at some point. And in the middle of the night, guests have said they've woken up having their toes and feet tickled. I fell to the concrete laughing so hard I could no longer breathe at the thought that we were just at another place that was like physically assaulting construction workers and throwing people out windows and like this gruesome shit, and we're in a haunted hotel with a tickler.
What was the damn picture you sent us? The
my God.
Marshall tickler?
So thank you for AI, because good Lord. And I typed in, I was like, I need the Marshall House tickler. And it literally was this just beautiful shot of the Marshall House with a, blonde female phantom. And it said the Marshall House tickler. And it was the most disarming fucking image. And I'm just like, you know what? Take me back to the other place. I need to get my arms ripped off or something. Like, this is no longer official. How are we staying at the lamest haunted hotel in Savannah?
I'm going to take that picture and I'm going to clip it into this so people can see.
Please, because that was
what it looks like.
I'm sitting in bed on ChatGPT and just giggling. the Marshall House tickler. And I show Nancy. She goes, "You're an idiot." I'm like, I know, but this is too good to pass up.
Okay, so that night, Kelly made me turn the TV on and sleep with the TV on all night. And I sleep in pitch darkness the whole night. And then it was like 3, 4 in the morning. I go to turn the TV off because I think Kelly's asleep. And she goes, you better fucking not.
You sure it was her, not the tickler? I do have to say, I slept the best that night, knowing that it was the room next door. That was the problem.
Even dude, we even got into that cool bar that night.
Oh, yeah, the one you guys thought that we were going to lose our kidneys. You had no faith in me.
We're walking. John finds some random ass bar.
Because
we're walking to it.
Hold on, you have to preface this because everything in Savannah closes at like 10 p.m.
It was a Sunday, dude.
It was a Sunday, but it's now like midnight, 1 o'clock.
So midnight, 1 o'clock. We're walking down. He goes, yeah, it's just down this way. It's a fucking alley. Excuse my French. It's an alley. And then we get to the alley. In the door, I think it's a red door.
It's a red door with a red light inside.
We have to go down 2 flights of stairs into this dark basement.
Yep.
We
And it
get
was
there, it's
silent
actually one of
initially.
the coolest,
Yeah,
like, dive bars that you could go to. It was actually really cool.
it was so low key, and if I do remember, I'd seen the Google, I've Googled and everything. I'd seen the mapping and all that, and I'm like, "Ah, what's the worst?" I've definitely walked into worse places in 20 years, and especially as a young, 20-something drinking in some dumb places. I have walked into some very bad places in my lifetime. So I'm like, "This can't be any worse." And I remember first one through the door, and no one's coming behind me, all alone walking down these 2 flights of stairs, and it is dead silent. It's just us tapping through the concrete floors, and we get to the bottom, and I'm like, "I think I hear do I hear voices?" And I'm like, "Is that me? Is that like, am I losing my mind? Is this kinda how this works?" And I don't remember if it was Nancy, somebody behind me goes, "This is how we lose our kidneys. We're gonna fucking die. Like, this is it." And I'm like, "No, no, no, there's no way." And because it's the backside of a hotel. Like, this has gotta be legitimate. And we round the corner, and the ambient noise gets louder, and we walk into this beautiful, like, red velvet room, cool bar tops, just cool photo, goofy shit on the walls. And it was so cool and chill. And we found a corner little couch cutout. We got some great drinks. Those are some of the best drinks I think I've ever had. A
Yeah.
little pricey, but very good. But yeah, we hung out there for an hour or so, and no one died. But did you die? Right?
Nope,
No
and
one
then we
lost
went
a.
to the Marshall House, tickler.
And then we went back and snuggled with the Marshall House Tickler. It was great. That was a phenomenal night overall. That was a great night.
The whole trip was great. Not often do a group of friends all vibe like we do.
Agreed. And and
Now
and
that we've
and
gone
newer
all the
friends too.
way.
That's like, hey, we've been friends for 20 years. You kind of know each other's,
Mhm.
quirks and whatever. Not like we was just the whole weekend was super chill. We ate well, we drank well. The whole open carry thing in Savannah, Georgia,
Oh, yeah.
sign me up. That was the greatest thing I found when we first got there, because I was getting very kind of hurt at the thought that I was getting carded left and right, because it doesn't happen at home anymore. I've got, all these gray hairs that kind of alert people to the fact that I'm no longer under 21. And so I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm not getting carded. This is, rite of passage kind of deal." And every restaurant, whatever, every place we went, "Can I have you see your ID?" I'm like, "My guy, like I'm fat, I'm old, like it." There are some context clues that tell you I'm no longer less than 21 years old, and then we got clued in to, "Hey, no, we have to by law, because you get to walk around the city with a drink in your hand."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Oh, that is a simple request for a phenomenal idea." And it
And
was
then we
beautiful.
finally got to go to a Black Rifle coffee shop that I've been wanting to go to forever, and I thought I was gonna spend $200 on some
Nonsense.
merchandise, and I restrained myself.
You're growing up, young man. It is wonderful to see that. It was a cool
Okay,
place,
now
though.
now that we've gone totally into left field,
Actually,
what
speaking of Nine Line or of Black Rifle, like, this is from the Nine Line store next door.
oh, hell. Yeah. Yes, it is the
Yeah, yeah.
fucking honey pot.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
The No Bothers Given? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a big Pooh Bear fan. I grew up on Disney and Pooh Bear. So when I saw this, I'm like, I'm spending
You got
money
the
on that."
sticker too, didn't you?
I got the sticker, and then Nancy bought me the koozie.
I should have bought
Yeah.
more. I should have spent the money. I should just did it.
Listen, we were doing a lot that weekend. It's okay.
Okay, now that again, that we've gone way off,
Yes,
let's
for
let's
sure.
get somehow back on track. Let's go into honor guard.
Ah,
I wanna see let's start your honor guard experience first, then then we'll go into what we've been
working on?
a part of working on.
Yeah. So mine is very interesting. So like I said, I work for a hospital-based EMS system, and funding is not something that's readily available to us. Unlike a county system, municipal system, there's taxpayer benefits, and there's funding to be had for special operations and special interest groups. We don't have that. And my cohort Joe Rosamilia, who we together we were on last year, we'd been talking along with one of our thirds. It'd be great to have an honor guard. We really need to be supporting the state, supporting the profession, supporting the department. There were maybe two or three other honor guards that were semi-active. Honor Guard in New Jersey is not very EMS heavy. It's very much a police and fire aspect. So, we were really starting from scratch and scrounging at the bottom. And so we really didn't have a lot of momentum from administration. We didn't really know what we were doing and where we were going with it. And then in 2017, we had the unfortunate event where one of our former administrators ended up taking his own life. And it rocked a lot of us. He was the reason why I was able to restructure my schedule to be able to go to medic school. So I had a personal connection to him, and a lot of us were very much influenced by him. So now we had to go to the ceremony and the funeral, and we showed up in our uniforms, which are wrinkled, and I don't mean wrinkled like because we don't iron them, but they're used, they're
Yeah.
worn down, they're they're discolored already from all this good. You can't put a tie on them because the collar's not built for a tie. We also didn't have ties. We ended up borrowing ascots, red ascots from someone. Oh
Red?
yeah,
Oh.
we look like one of those big chin like birds. It was awful. And we were in BDUs. We were in, six pocket BDUs. Not professional looking at all.
No.
And then the summer before that, there was a line of duty death from one of the local towns. One of the EMTs had died after their ambulance was T-boned. So our department showed up in whatever they could hodgepodge together because we didn't have anything. So, when you go to somebody else's, okay, whatever, you got all these people together, it's fine. But now you're dealing with your own, and we did not show up to impress at all. We did not show up to represent properly at all. And then we were with other honor guards that were in full uniform, and we looked awful. And that was the catalyst to us kind of upping our momentum. We ended up getting administration involved, and they finally saw, like, we were showing them photos. And I tell people all the time, the photos aren't meant to be touristy and hokey. It's meant to prove a point. And I'm all about getting as much media as possible because it supports what you're trying to do. And we did that. We showed photos of us in our hodgepodge uniforms, comparatively speaking to the teams that were next to us in full uniform. And they looked at us and went, wow, that's embarrassing. This was one of our own. How do we do this? Because we don't have anything. So our administration set up, we purchased uniforms, got us kind of set up with some very informal training. We figured out how to step. We figured out how to salute. We figured out how to stand. We figured out how to use flags. And then we started kind of growing little by little. We ended up going to a program offered for free at one of the county EMS and fire academies, which, if you didn't have a mind to yourself and you didn't have a brain, would have hindered your progress. But we ended up taking some stuff away from it, and we continued to move and grow from there. And then we got involved with the National EMS Memorial Service, and we got to see how the AMR teams functioned, and then we got to see how the fire service teams function, and then we got to see how county-based teams function, and we started to learn alongside these teams, and we brought that back home. And so you'll normally see from our team at least three of the same recurring faces because we're still very much involved in our team, but we're very much involved in the National Memorial Service. But we bring new faces and rotate through people to give them that exposure so that they'll learn. And especially when we do the Saturday morning training for the memorial service itself for the weekend of honor, you bring all these experiences and all these professions and all these opinions together, and we break down each other's barriers and we learn a certain way. We were able to bring that home and use that. So we've taken our exposure and brought it back, and that's how we continue to train and offer our services. And then more importantly, we have now seen more and more departments, large and small, reach out to us saying, hey, how do I start a team? How do we get our administration on board to support this undertaking? Which, it's not an easy undertaking. When you're looking at $1,000 per uniform, first and foremost, you're looking at $1,000 in equipment between flags, flag poles, the holders, the rifles themselves. If you're looking at a decent team, you're looking at almost 10 plus grand for a startup cost. Tell me what department is really willing to throw away $10,000 or more on a line item that doesn't have a revenue stream to it. And unfortunately, I say revenue stream because I come from corporate EMS. Corporate is all about
Mhm.
give and take. It's all about budget. It's all about where the data takes you and what you return from it. So a lot of places and a lot of departments are super small that can't spend that kind of money because they're investing that money in vehicles, equipment, actual uniforms, staff, benefits, so on and so forth, or larger systems that just aren't willing to shell that out because they'd rather see that capital go somewhere else.
Now,
Um,
how did you actually, sorry to cut you off,
no,
but
no, please.
how did you find out about the EMS memorial?
So our department merged with another hospital system. That other hospital system already had an established honor guard, and they were a blended honor guard. So they had a handful of actual honor guard team members, and then the majority of their staff were able to buy Class A uniforms on their own. And if they were willing to participate, they could go kind of learn the basics and then be part of parades, funerals, services, so on and so forth. They had gone to the National EMS Memorial Service several years in advance in their history. They went up to Boston. They were at the other hotel that was in DC. They had been to other years and they knew a lot of the people that were already there. So we started up our team a year before we merged. So when we finally merged, both teams came together and they were like, "Hey, we haven't been to the National EMS Memorial Service in quite some time. A, because COVID happened, but B, budgetary constraints at the time of the merger kind of stopped us from really going. But, well, now we have a bigger team. Now we have people who are actually motivated. Can we talk to administration and get us back down there? Like, yeah, absolutely. And so we set up, and it was all about return on investment. We set up a meeting. We showed them what the National EMS Memorial Service was, showed them the history of the previous team going, and we told them what we could possibly do on marketing side, on putting the hospital's name out into the world
That's why you do it.
on a national level. And they were like, all right, you can send 3 people. All right. Well, we sent 3 people, but then a couple of us went on our own and paid for the rooms on our own. It's fine. And then it turned into you can send 5 people, you can send 6 people. So we started to kind of evolve, and now we send about 6 people every year. But it was a matter of we had the momentum from the other team to send us. I'll tell you right now, before joining the Honor Guard, I had no idea the National EMS Memorial Service even existed. And they had been operational since the 90s. So
I'm
at
gonna
that
say
point,
the same exact
that
thing.
was, yeah. So our team started in 2017. I had already been in the business for 11 years, 12 years. 12 years and not knowing there was a service, there was a program, a platform that memorialized EMS. I knew about Police Week. I knew about the memorial in DC. My father's a retired police officer, so I knew that. I knew about Emmitsburg, but I had no idea that we had something until 12 years after, 12 years into the business. So
Look,
I'm
I
so thankful about it too.
I joined Honor Guard, and I didn't find out about the EMS memorial until about a couple weeks before I was going.
Oh,
And
talk
honestly, a
about being
lot of
thrown
my
into the fire.
career, I'm going to actually shout out to GMR. Without GMR, my career would not be where it is at today without them. I gave them my resignation today. Not on a bad note, just because I'm moving and there's bigger and better things for me. They set me up for the success I have. Honestly, people bad talk GMR. I know they do because they've had their outlook on certain things, but
Sure.
they have given me w- everything where I'm at today. They give me the opportunity to go to National EMS Memorial, to get my CMTE, to meet all these people I've networked with.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I've had a very good experience with GMR. I'm actually a little bit sad I'm leaving them because of what they've done for my career. Obviously, the new step in my life is going to be beneficial and better for my family and me, but I will miss them. But that being said, I did not know about National EMS Memorial until a couple weeks before. I didn't know we had this.
Yeah.
And my commander at the time asked me, he's like, "Hey, our assistant commander can't go. Do you want to go?" I was like, "Absolutely. Why? That would be cool. Sure."
Yeah.
And from this, I ended up getting promoted to then assistant commander and stuff. But, like, I met Jana Williams and all the board members. I met you,
Hmm.
which we still have to go into that story before
We'll
how
get
we
there.
met not even knowing it.
We'll get there.
And now I'm on the vetting committee. I've I've given the flags to the family in 3 separate occasions. I thought it was a one-year thing, but Jana keeps asking me to do it. I tried to even give it up last year, but she's like she wanted some experience up there, which is it's for the last 3 years, it's always been me and Barry teaching everybody
Right.
and getting things done. I told her to give my position to somebody else again this year. We'll see what happens. I've
You're
given a
too
couple
good at your
names.
job.
I've given a couple names to take my place that I think deserve to get the opportunity to do that without crying because of what honor guard means to me. The whole the whole thing is just the service is amazing, and I can't wait for us to finally get a memorial.
A final like brick and mortar hard place to actually go
And I
visit.
hope
Yeah.
we're alive when we get it because it's not an easy task.
I have high hopes. Tony and James are doing great work, and they have all of our support. But I agree, it's going to be great when we are no longer mobile. I do like the fact that we're currently mobile. You know, we can kind of take the show on the road if we need to, and you know, the moving honors that have come out across because of COVID was awesome. We did that for the first year last year. They came to New Jersey for the first time, and that was a phenomenal experience. You know, I already knew part of the team from having been many years, but doing that specific event, you know, opened my eyes and, you know, got us a little closer to their team. And so now we see each other, you know, we communicate, you know, throughout the year, and it's great to have that connection. You know, you don't know what you again, I go back to it. You don't know what you don't know. And then when you finally step into it, you're like, wow, look
Yeah,
at the amazing things you can do. You know, same
and
thing.
I went on a whole I was probably just rambling, but again, it was just like, thank you, GMR, for the
Yeah,
opportunity to give it to me. Because even the moving honors, without GMR, the moving honors wouldn't be a
they
thing.
will not exist at all. Yeah, I mean, listen, credit where credit's due. I back to you know, we were talking about this earlier. You know, people comment about certain things. Usually, it's negative. It is what it is. You're gonna always have haters. You're gonna have negative opinions. That comes with life. Listen, I'm a big fan of pizza. I think pizza is one of the things that brings everybody together. You can't be a pizza. You can't make everyone happy at all times. So you're gonna have some of the negative Nancy's. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, I agree. You know, credit where credit's due. Clearly, it took you somewhere. Same thing. You know, as much as you know, I have some opinions on how we can improve my department and where we can improve New Jersey EMS. I'm extremely proud of the fact that I've come from this system. I've come from New Jersey EMS, and it's given me so much. You know, over the last 20 years, I've stayed for 20 years. I have coworkers who have moved to Arizona, to California, to Florida to pursue EMS careers, better pay, better benefits, better lifestyle. I mean, listen, I would go to the beach every day if I lived in California or Florida, you know, before, during, and after shift. But in reality, they didn't offer what I needed, and that's what New Jersey and my current department offer. So yeah, credit where credit's due. And the National EMS Memorial Service has definitely been the next like hub of our careers and our lives. Again, we've got a chance to now meet and become close, and we've gotten to do things with our career. And I'll tell you now, when we first started the honor guard, I thought that's where it stopped. We started the department honor guard, we worked through it, we grew, we built what we had, we evolved, and then we would pass it along to the next group of providers from my department. Did not see the National EMS Memorial Service happening, right? Did not see the project you and I are working on, did not see the state project that Joe, Rosemary, and I are working on at all. And now here we are. And it's and that specific moment in our all of our careers has now jump started us to move on to another piece based off of that as well. So
I wanna get into the story how first you and I met, and then I wanna go into how the project you and Joe have going
yeah.
on, and then we'll get into our project.
So let's start talking about challenge coins and patches, bro. This is where
Yeah,
I live.
yeah. I I don't know. I was like, "Oh, cool, patches, it's cool, every entity
Yeah.
has their thing. I'm gonna just start messaging people."
Yeah.
Well, I saw this guy named Johnny D. I messaged his Instagram like, "Hey, I have this. I think it's up here. Is it up here? Yeah, this Dalhart EMS patch.
Hold on, before you keep going,
Is it up there?
where is it? Right,
Oh yeah, it's in the corner right there.
right there. It's there.
Yeah. So I had the Dalhart EMS patch. I said, "Hey, do you got any patches to trade?" You know what? Do I have to freaking hold on? I'm just gonna hop into our messages and read it word
Gotta
for
go
word.
gotta
Hold
gotta
on.
dive into the DMs.
Yeah.
Which I laugh about this because I remember so 2022 you came in and we took you under our wing and we brought you into the group because you had that New York connection, you're former New York, and we all clearly bonded. And it was something very similar that we had our first year with Colorado AMR. Casey and the gang took us under their wing, and we were like, oh, let's kind of pay it forward, and we kind of brought you in. And I remember you handed me the Dalhart patch, and I'm like, "Wow, this looks really familiar. Where have I seen this before?" And again, like, I'm in the patch culture, I'm in the hobby, so I see thousands of patches regularly, and I'm like, I don't know, the lion, like, it all just the triangle, like, it's just so unique. I don't It's kind of weird. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I get home and I'm like, why the fuck do I have two now? Like, because I'm going through my bag and the case that I at the time that I had them in, and I'm like, well, I've got one in the case, and now I've got one from this event. Like, how? How? It just didn't click until
I think I couldn't sleep one night. It was probably 2, 3 years later.
yeah,
I don't know what in the right mind made me go through our old messages because we have thousands of stupid messages to each other.
yep.
I scrolled to the very beginning. Hey, I'm Antonio. I work for the EMS team in Dalhart, Texas. Do you trade patches by any chance?
I was gonna say
And you
all
go,
the
hey, I do. Here's my department patch. And you sent me your patch. I
yeah.
sent you my patch. I said, I have this to trade. I'd love to trade for it if you're interested. I'm definitely interested. Here's my contact info. You sent me your contact info. And we said we received each other's patches. And honestly, you know why? Now I know why I scrolled back to it because somehow we did. Because now we message each other all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
The very next question on there was a mention from you from when we did our first recording with the other podcast.
Oh, so there was like a 4-year gap.
2025, and I messaged you in 2019.
Oh, 6-year gap. Whoa. Wow. And so it probably didn't even show up. Like, I probably didn't even see it as a previous set of messages. That's
Oh
awesome.
my god. So I
Yeah.
didn't even realize that just now.
So
So
you
then I do a Facebook post the very next day about a bromance that was evolved before we even knew it.
the 3 years that we didn't know each other to then meet in person. And it's funny because when you tagged me, I'm looking at this conversation going, "What the fuck? Why am I being tagged in this shit?" And all of a sudden it dawned on me, I had to go back into my messages to confirm this. I'm like, "Oh my god, that's why I have 2 Dalhart patches." What are the chances?
So
And I'll tell you right now, this has never happened before because I've either purposely met people intentionally because of this. I've never happenstance traded with somebody and then met them years later like we have. I have
yeah,
very good
like
friends in Canada where we met because of it.
what are the chances? Because I'm pretty sure I just went on Instagram and put like patch trading or
Yeah.
something simple like that, and you're one of the first people I definitely messaged for this,
I mean,
and
listen,
you were the only reliable people that actually sent me a patch back.
dude, it is the thing. I was posting patches on Instagram left and right, anything I got. And a lot of it had to do just highlighting the connection that I made with somebody, thanking them for their time and their patch. And the connection that we just built. So, you scratch your back, I scratch your back, and then you put it out there, and the hashtags were a big thing back then. You got to tag everything,
Oh yeah.
and so you hit the keywords, and my dumb face must have popped up with all these different posts of random patches. And I'm even still now today, like I'm not as active on Instagram as I used to be, but still things pop up and I still communicate with people. And you want to trade, I'm all about it. I will gladly trade. And I have way too many traders to talk about. Please don't tell the wife. She doesn't know. But I am my own department patch, specialty team patches, honor patches, Thames, all that fun stuff. And then all these other patches I've collected over the years where I have duplicates now, they're all on the chopping block. And whoever doesn't have, you talk to other collectors and traders. Oh, I don't have this version. Oh, I don't have this department. I didn't have this team's patch. Oh, you have a Hawaii paramedic patch? Yes, I have an extra here. And they'll send me their, whatever the traders are, and we kind of go from there. It's incredible the availability that's out there and the camaraderie in this hobby.
Yeah. It's one, I didn't know I'd be this big because you could only see a portion behind me. I have a ton above my head. I have patches I haven't been able to put up yet because I just don't have enough room.
Mhm.
Coins, I have a cubby hole right here next to me. There's about 50 coins in here that are just stacked up because I don't have anywhere to put them yet. And the meaning behind them are insane because I can tell you where I got each one of them from, what they mean to me, the
Mhm.
story behind them. What do those stories mean to you and how you met? Look at the story between me and you. We have an incredible one.
That's proof that the proof the what is it? The proof's in the pudding?
Proof in the pudding.
The proof's in the pudding. It's right there. This right here. This is exactly why I do this and why I have an interest. It started off with my dad. He took his patches off his shoulder, and I had literally a plastic shopping bag full of his old patches. And then it turned into, he would get patches from wherever, and he'd given me, and then I evolved getting into EMS, and it became building these stories and build these connections. I was alluding to it before. I ended up trading with somebody from Canada through Instagram. And 2 years later, they're like, "Hey, we're looking to come to New York City. We want to check out the 9/11 Memorial. We want to see Ground Zero." I lived through that. That was a big catalyst for why I continued into public safety. Aside from my dad being in law enforcement and my mom being an emergency room nurse, but that was a big reason why I jumped in. I said, "Well, listen, when you let me know your plans, come down, and I will meet you in the city, and it's been years now, and they were invited to my wedding. We've had this connection just because we traded a bunch of patches to each other. And then on top of the fact that they lived in New Brunswick province of Canada, I worked in the city of New Brunswick in New Jersey. So like there's these little nuances there. So I have a new so the patches you saw above me, those are like my favorite ones that have a specific meaning to me. Out of like the 1,500 to 2,000 patches I have that I can't even display because I just have nowhere to put them. Um, but the New Brunswick patch is up above me because again, I worked in the city of New Brunswick. They work in the province of New Brunswick. Like, what are the chances of that happening? And that's what it
Correct.
means to me. Like all these coins agreed. I know who's giving them to me. I know why. There are a small handful of coins that I've paid for because they were meant for memorials, fundraisers, whatever the case may be. Like I'm not just gonna go out and indiscriminately buy patches and coins and ha ha ha.
Yep.
There's a meaning behind why I'm giving money to
Correct.
somebody. Um, and so you see two cases behind me. The top one is all law enforcement or federal. I have a lot of federal friends who've done the job and know that I'm a coin nut, and so they give me a bunch of stuff. The bottom one here is all FDNY and FDNY EMS. So I
That's
did
cool.
time. I have a lot of friends on the FDNY, and I also did some time with what was formerly their MSOC, their Medical Special Operations Conference. Forget what they renamed it now. But I did several of those conferences. I got to meet a lot of people from the FDNY and a lot of people from around the world, and so I collected a bunch of their station coins. And I went one year with a couple of friends, and we toured the city, and we hit a bunch of houses, and we were just, here's coins, here's patches, here's this, here's that, and we just got a whole bunch of it. And actually, this frame behind me with the flag, my best friend is stationed out in Baghdad at the embassy, and so he came back before Christmas. That was a flag that was flown over the embassy in Baghdad on my birthday. That's the certificate for it. And then he's given me a bunch of coins over his tenure with the federal agency, and so they're all in that case.
That's
So,
cool.
that's a huge piece of my life because, he's taken something that he loves and taken something that I loved and, kind of blended it. I have 3 other cases of coins that, one's full of honor guard coins, the other one's full of EMS coins, the other one is full of coins that I've directly, earned, department, honor guard, too many own soldier, so on and so forth. Um, they're all here and it's meant for that connection.
So my favorite recent connection I just made, and I think me and Brendan are gonna do a special episode where
Oh,
I'm gonna answer some honor guard questions, how I became a part of it, what I
sure.
think about it, and go in depth with it. And Brandon's gonna be the interviewer. I'm gonna be the interviewee for the first
Oh,
time.
a role reversal here.
But this one I think is my new favorite, just because of. So I'm gonna give a shout out to a guy named Thomas. He's from Germany,
This is a great
and
story.
I've been in contact with him recently. He's gonna be on the podcast. Because
It's
he's
awesome.
got a really cool story. I'm not gonna tell the story right now because I don't wanna ruin anything. His story is amazing. He is I believe, a drum major as well in
That's
Germany,
awesome.
which is not a big thing in Europe.
Mm-mm.
And he's got, again, an amazing story, but he gave me this coin, and it's a September 11th, 2001 World Trade Center coin, but it has some German like history with it and American history with him coming over. And I'm gonna read on the next podcast with Brandon when he does this interview with me. The letter Thomas sent me because again, I'm getting soft. It's either my age or because I had a daughter, but it made me cry in front of my wife when I read it.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. And on the back, so here's the front.
Hey, it's a beautiful coin.
The back. The back is, and I'm probably saying his name wrong. You might be able to tell me since you're more from the area. Even though I'm from New York, I grew up in Texas. I was in Texas during 9/11. Still meant a lot for me because my family's from New York, but I was in Texas in 9/11. The last homily of Father Mychal,
Michael. They pronounce it Michael.
and it has his last homily on there.
That's amazing. That's a really cool feature.
Yeah, I cried like an idiot. I'm gonna read his note on when I
Oh,
do
the next
that.
one, yeah, that's phenomenal. So, and funny that you mentioned that he's got something about Michael Judge. Um, I just learned this not too long ago. So our department has EMS fellows and EMS physicians that come on the road and do some really awesome stuff with us. One of the docs, they live in Florida. She's from Florida. Originally from New York, her father was an FDNY paramedic on 9/11. So during the collapse of, I forget which tower, but he was actually caught underneath one of the engines with Father Judge,
Okay.
and Father Judge handed him his cross right before he died. And there's a photo of him walking out of the dust cloud. And then after that's when there's that famous photo of everyone carrying Father Judge in the chair out of the dust cloud. So I just learned this myself. And then she said, "Yeah, that's the reason why we left New York and we moved to Florida to get as far away as possible." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can understand that."
I'm gonna have to read up on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk with her and see if
That's
we
truly
can.
amazing.
It's really cool to see the connection, especially
And
everyone up here.
I know Thomas is listening to this. He is honestly probably the biggest fan of this podcast.
I'd fight him on that one.
And Thomas, if you're listening, John here, because I've already talked to him about it, is going to meet us when you're here for 9/11 for the 25th anniversary, and we're gonna all get drinks together.
I look forward to anybody who wants to come visit, and
For the
participate,
merrier.
and the more the merrier, absolutely, but especially with the background you have, I'm very honored to meet him, and I look forward to the shenanigans we would get in getting
I know he
involved
wants
in
to
the
go
history
to
of it.
O'Hara's.
Ah,
O'Hara
O'Hara's. Oh, O'Hara's,
O'Hara's,
that's my favorite place.
and, and it I and, catch some drinks there, and I don't know, it's just truly amazing some of the people this is by the way, people, this is gonna be a long podcast. I'm sorry. If you
That's all
like
right.
it, awesome. If you don't, tough shit.
I've learned over the years, especially going to the FDNY conferences, that people throughout the world have a very unique perspective on 9/11. That no one and not one person shares the same outlook. And even for, where I lived in New Jersey, or where I live in New Jersey, I can see the city in the distance. So, that day I watched my dad grab his gear and go to work. And then I watched my mom get dressed and go into the ER right before I went to school. And then, my dad picked me up in the middle of the day and we went up. We have, like a smaller set of mountains. The that we went up onto the hill, and I can see the city, and you can see the dust trail. And so, that is a very unique, perspective for me. That's my perspective, is my involvement for the day. But everyone has a very unique experience, especially when they weren't here. And so getting the chance to speak with people who saw it on TV only, and then, get to see like the aftermath of, watching a show like Rescue Me and seeing it from that end, or, seeing everything else, and then finally getting a chance to come into the city and go to the memorial, which, for a long time, it took a lot, of effort. And I credit someone that I interacted with many, many moons ago, in my 20s. She got me to go back to that area, and I refused to go to Lower Manhattan for a decade. I couldn't do it. You couldn't take me to Battery Park. I couldn't go downtown. Um, because of what I saw, what I experienced, and, everything else I found out about afterwards, and the emotions I had to deal with. Couldn't go down there. And I finally got to go down there, and it was so cathartic to finally go down there. And we went before the actual memorial was open. And then I have been down there countless times as it has opened, and I've seen it as it's been cared for, and they keep updating it, and they keep doing more and more for it. And, we had a chance to bring Tim down with us.
I was about to
And
bring that
I'm going to tell you right
up.
now, like every time I go there, I see something different. And it's not necessarily new, but I perceive it differently, and I understand it differently, and I read it differently, or absorb it differently. And I've officially been to all the sites. So I've been to ground zero in Lower Manhattan. I've been out to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to see that memorial. I think that is a beautiful memorial. People need to go
Definitely
there.
make it out there.
And I've been to DC, and I think people need to go to DC, to the Pentagon, and see what they have there. They're all very unique, but I've had a chance to go to all three, and I've had a chance to reflect and go back to it, and you see something different every time you go. And that's a very
Fir
key point of it.
First of all, thank you for helping me with Tim and taking him there when that happened. I don't know if we know what that meant to him.
By the
Um,
time that he took going through that memorial and that museum, he didn't have to say anything. I could absolutely feel the emotion that was coming off of him. And I'm glad that we were able to get him out there to see it. And I tell everybody, if you're a first responder, you have to go down there. That day changed the course of public safety for everyone. So you need to get down there and see it. And I'm glad that a Tim wanted to go. That's step number one, is wanting to go.
yeah.
And I'm glad that we were able to facilitate getting him out there. I'm glad that, we could have gotten there and get him through it. Also get him a chance to experience New York City for Christmas, because that's another
Oh,
experience in
yeah.
and of itself. But, we got him into the line, we got him into the museum, and he took his time and he absorbed everything he could. And that also gave me a chance. Like I said, I'd been there countless times. Give me a chance to slow down and take a look at other things also. And I'm glad that we had a chance. You got a chance to set that up, and we could do that
Yeah,
for
and
him.
I can't thank you and Joe enough for that. I'm gonna tell the story of Tim real quick. T Tim unfortunately got diagnosed with ALS and passed away this February. That the way he took it on and it didn't phase him was incredible. He, damn it, I'm gonna cry on my podcast again. Um, he is somebody we all need to look up to. He's, he's on to better things now, and we're gonna miss him at the memorial this year.
Yeah, very
But,
much so.
Tim was an incredible individual and a very if you didn't know Tim, the way he had his jokes, and I'm not gonna go into the vulgar things he said, but he
No,
was a very
please don't.
funny man. We definitely miss him dearly, and
Agreed.
I had the honor to be in charge of his casket, um, at his funeral, and I take great honor in that.
No,
So,
he's is, and I hate using was because he still is. He's in our thoughts. He'll always be in our thoughts. He'll always be in our hearts, and he's a phenomenal individual. He ran with the diagnosis. You know, he was still pushing. He was still going to the gym. He was still very much involved in the world. You know, still very much involved in the honor guard. And you know, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to give him a chance to, you know, see something. Because again, not everyone gets to go to New York City, let alone New York City for Christmas.
correct.
And so, you know, you gave them the family touch, you know, going to see the tree and see the lights and getting a little touch, you know, taste of Broadway kind of deal. And then, you know, we took him down to the memorial and we went down to 23 House and hung out with the guys down there and
Oh, yeah.
in Brooklyn and we got some great pizza out of it. And you know, we showed him a guys' night, you know, a business guys' night kind of thing, and it was awesome. It was great for Joe and I. You know, we love getting out. We love supporting each other. We love supporting others in the business. And you know, you want to go to New York City? Call me. Like it'll be we will have a grand old time. Um, but it was also great to get to know Tim more. Like you know, we'd interacted with him in DC, but we didn't really get too close to him, unfortunately, towards the end. And you know, getting to see his funny side and you know getting to see him in his in the raw of Tim was awesome. So you know it is very unfortunate to see where that took him, but I'm just very happy that we got a chance to hang out with him, to spend time with him, and the rest of his family, the SIP crowd. They are great. They're phenomenal people. I love hanging out with them. Love spending time with them, and I look forward to seeing them in July every year. But that whole environment was just phenomenal. But yeah, to be able to go into New York City to do that, um, Paul, was it? Gentleman from Germany.
Thomas.
Thomas. I'm terrible with names, great with faces. Thomas, when he does decide to come down and, you know, we can set something up, it'll be a phenomenal trip for him. And you know, we'll show him a good time. And, you know, then again, we'll have a chance to experience that again in a very different manner and have someone to share that experience with. So that's the best part is getting to share the experience, which I also believe is part of our own kind of guidance on mental health. You know, you have to be able to share experiences. You can't just be yourself. You can't just keep it to yourself. You need that outlet. And it doesn't you don't have to go to the gym every day. You don't have to eat, you know, chicken cutlets every day. You don't have to do some, you know, crazy thing to maintain your mental health. I think sharing your experiences is really the main portion of that outlook and that outlet for your mental health. You know, and that comes back
Agreed.
to taking the photos, being involved, you know, getting in the videos and keeping the memories alive and then, you know, doing new things and experiences with other people. That's what kind of keeps you grounded.
That being said, man, if you're shy, don't be shy. Go out and meet people
Agreed. Go to
because,
conferences.
uh, yeah, go. That's a great one. Go to
Go to conferences.
conferences.
I'm going to tell you right now, I did not go to conferences until I became a paramedic. And that is the biggest regret of my career. We have a very big conference in New
Same.
Jersey, and I only went down to do like demonstrations for the department. So like I did CPR demonstration, and I was kind of like their guinea pig for a couple things, but I never went and hung out. And not taking away from the educational portion of it, but the networking and the time spent with other people, never did it. Then I became a paramedic, and I got to meet more and more people, and realize that they go to these conferences, and I've been to all these conferences across the country, and I'm like, Why didn't I do this sooner?
I
Give
think
me
that's a failure on us veterans that don't educate the younger that they
correct,
need to go to these things.
correct. That's one of my pieces of advice. Like I have like, a laundry list. Again, my Gibbs rules of mantras. I have a Gibbs rules list of like things that I tell the new people.
It's like,
Always wear your good underwear to work because you never know when you're getting stripped on the side of the road to get, hosed off by hazmat. Or you get pissed on by a drunk and now you got to change into the booties at the hospital.
uh
But aside from being kind and always learning, go to these conferences and make a vacation out of them. If you have a conference in San Diego, don't just go for the 2 days of the conference. Make it a 4-day thing. Get to see the
and talk
city and go to the
talk
conference
to people,
and meet
talk to
people.
people.
Talk to people. Talk to people. I ended up meeting a captain with LA City Fire, and when I went out there, I got we went drinking. We did a mezcal tour of the city, and I got to see their academy. I got to see their fitness center. He showed me the world out there. Talk to people because you just don't know where you're gonna go if you don't talk to people.
Hell, I just got back from St. Louis
Yeah,
because of somebody I talked to, and I helped with their honor guard training, and I got to tour their facility, which was incredible,
yeah, they
and the
look
way they
awesome.
treat their
Yeah,
people
they look
is
awesome.
amazing. Like, they are a staple of how they should treat people. So you and Joe have started your state honor guard. Let's go into
Yes.
the background and how that is going right now.
Oh, it's going. Let me tell you. So we, through the National EMS Memorial Service, have gotten to interact with several state-specific honor guard teams, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and saw how they function, saw how they operate, and love it. And we love the integration of multiple departments working together. So segue to a conversation we had before where we were having several departments come to our team and say, hey, how do we become an honor guard? How do we get ourselves started? And we would lay out, the basics, including the financial aspect of it. And a lot of them will come back to us and say, yeah, we can't do that at all. That's not feasible whatsoever. So, with seeing how Minnesota, Wisconsin, and a bunch of these other teams function, Joe approached me a couple years ago saying, hey, what were your thoughts on maybe a state team so that we can bring in some of these underdogs, some of these departments that don't have the ability to be in a team together and give them that chance to represent the state, represent the profession, and even ultimately represent their department through an entity. And initially I looked at them a little crazy because, we're pretty bogged down with, my position, our honor guard, his position as a tour chief. And I was like, yeah, it's a big undertaking. Sat on it a little bit and then said to him, you know what? I think that'd be a phenomenal idea because there are people who just can't be heard and we want them to be heard. So it's been an undertaking. Let me tell you, the application to become incorporated, to get your federal tax uh, set up, to get your state tax set up, to get trademarking. We trademarked our patch and our logo. Like it has been a
I didn't know
process.
you trademarked that.
We did.
Oh, wow.
Um, we want it. It's meant to represent people, and we don't want people just walking away with it. So we wanted to make sure that it stands for what we're trying to do and doesn't get used inappropriately. That's pretty much our big goal. So it's been about a year and a half process. We're still waiting on the state tax paperwork to come back. So like, we're
Takes a
still
while.
waiting on stuff, but we're incorporated. We're a 501c3 organization. Joe and I were doing a
Congratulations.
lot of, thank you. Joe and I were doing a lot of behind the scenes work, and a lot of it had to do with now trying to find the right group of people that would help us build a foundation for this group. And we have found and sourced some fantastic Garden State EMS champions to lay our foundation. Um, who will be our secretary, who will be um, our treasurer, and all these people that will support us as we build the administrative side of the house. And so once we have that all situated, our next step is now the marketing aspect. Is you have a foundation, now you need to get yourself out there, and we need to talk about our purpose. We need to talk about our mission, and we need to talk about who we're looking for to continue this mission. And we're looking for that recognition to say, listen, we're a legitimate group trying to support the state, the profession, the people in it, those who have come before us, those who will come after us, and then to support the community, not just the EMS community, but also the community we serve in the Great Garden State. So it's been a process. We've spec'd out our uniforms, we've spec'd out, potential space for training, for storage. We have all these, ideas of grandeur of how this team should take flight. And it's nice to have those distant views, but we're working little by little on getting ourselves stepped up. So one of our cohorts is a 30+ year paramedic, works up in the North Boonies of New Jersey, and he comes with some long-term honor guard experience and some long-term life experience. So he's involved in our day to day, and his daughter-in-law is a marketing expert. So she's been involved in trying to get us on the right track. Because listen, I'm a kid with a handheld computer. Been playing video games my whole life. I can figure out technology, but there's a right way of doing it. And I'm the guy. I've created patches, designed challenge coins. I can definitely set up a lot of things for merchants for the media side of life, but to do it the right way, I have no problem admitting that I'm not the guy with the info and that I need a little bit of help. So we're definitely now getting the momentum we need, and it looks like hopefully by the end of the year, the latest, we'll finally be up and about, out into the world. People know who we are, and hopefully we can start impacting people's lives and getting people to buy into the purpose and the mission to then join us and keep expanding.
Amazing.
It's been a process
Amazing.
for
It
sure.
it's a process, man. I know.
Yes.
I guess this is a great segue into what we're doing, not just you, but a lot of us. So recently, I made a transition in my life and was presented an opportunity that I thought was more beneficial for me and my family. I was asked, and again, this is I guess, the first time it's being said on the podcast.
Hmm.
I wish it was with Brandon, but again, Brandon, I'm sorry, guys. Brandon is a very busy guy. Very, very busy guy. It's very understandable. He will show up more often once he gets his new operation up and going. With that being said, I got presented this opportunity to start a national EMS, fire, and law enforcement honor guard. And man, has it been a undertaking. It is a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a whirlwind for sure.
I don't even know where to begin with this. One, the uniforms alone, and without John with the shitload of questions I've asked him, and thank God for him because I owe him my life for the amount of questions I've asked him, along with several others. I would not have the base I have right now. We have uniforms built out.
And they look
We
great.
have our badges, our insignia, our logo, which is right here. Without these people, there's no way this would be a thing. I have made sure I have got people that are more experienced and more talented than I am at all. Because without them, there's no way I'd be able to do this. Because I'm very young in my career still, and I'm technically still very young in the honor guard career. And for me to be asked to take this opportunity to build this guard has been amazing, and I'm very grateful. With that being said, I want to give a shout out to United We Rescue, who wanted to take this vision and let us build a division as a umbrella underneath them and be pretty much a completely separate thing from them, but still have support with them.
I mean, they took a chance on us to know that not only are we building a team, but we're building a unit that's going to support them in everything they do. And this is a huge undertaking, and that's an undertaking that every department has to get through. It's a little, like that little hurdle that you have to trust this group to support the mission, to support the purpose, to support the reasons why we're doing this, and stand fast with the entire organization and what it stands for. And they've stepped up, and we're so willing and have been willing to share their mission, and then, look good in the process to support the people that they support and they help on a daily basis.
Again, I there's some things I don't even know of. Pipes and drums, I know nothing. And thank God I have met people along the way. Fred Hawkins, who was the last guest, is our new drum
Yeah,
major. Larry Jones from Pittsburgh is our pipe major. Those are two very experienced men who have been in this field a very long time.
and they look great in skirts.
They look great in skirts.
I love you guys. It's a kilt. I know. I know.
Without them, there's no way I could do that because I don't know that side of it. And there's still other things I don't know and connections I don't know. John, hell, I asked him to be my EMS commander, and it's a lot. And I'm so grateful he took the position for me because I don't know who would be a better choice.
I'm honored
Same
for the
with
thought.
my same with my fire guy, same with my law enforcement person. I've I've hoped I've picked people that one, I believe John is more experienced, more knowledgeable than I am that can help me build this thing. Our EMS side obviously is built more advanced than the other ones because I'm heavily EMS. But John doesn't know, but there has been a lot of movement with the fire and law enforcement side. I'm still trying to finish an SOP, which, good God, is a nightmare,
Yeah,
especially with this.
ChatGPT only gets you so far.
Right? So this guard is going to have 3 divisions, like I've said before. Each division only has 20 people in it. With those 20 people, there's some admin side of it, some commander sides of it, deputy commanders. So there's like almost a total of 90 people in this guard. It's a lot. Uh it's the way I'm trying to form it. I'm trying to not. At first, I believe I was going too fast at the beginning, trying to get things done. I
Sure.
have slowed down immensely. I was trying to get people filled. I decided to take a step back and finish the SOP before we do any more interviews because people are asking me questions that I didn't have answers for yet, and I didn't
Yeah.
think that was fair.
No, agreed. You have to have that foundation before you can start spreading your wings a little bit.
We have a meeting very soon. Hopefully, a lot of those questions are going to be answered.
Mhm.
Some uniforms have been ordered. My uniform's been ordered. There's 3 others that have been ordered. I'm excited to get this in front of people. The ideas behind this are we are not here to take over. We're here to support. I know there's been questions of there's people never had to pay for an honor guard. Yes, that is true. You should never have to pay for an honor guard.
Agreed.
But there has been positions where people can't get an honor guard, either being a money issue because their department doesn't have the funds to get an
Sure.
honor guard there. That's an issue.
Uh-huh.
I wanna be able to provide for those people, and thankfully, a lot of these people will spend their own money. We will get funding eventually. That's the hope. But a lot of these people at the beginning are willing to spend their own money. I've also been reached out to where a veteran could not get an honor guard for him. The American Legions or whatever group is in that area just didn't have the honor guard for them. And I was reached out to, asked if I had the guard yet, and unfortunately I did not because we were still pretty new. Still are new.
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide those services because yes, we will be helping veterans because they're the ones who gave us our freedom.
And public safety is rooted in the military. So there's no we're very much a product of their being. So, and that's the beautiful thing about having this blend, these three divisions is yes, we are EMS, fire, and law enforcement, but we're here to support the three divisions plus our military brethren. And in that event, I mean, we have countless stories from even our cohorts at the National EMS Memorial Service where they've been called upon because a veteran has died and the family couldn't find a local base, a local unit, anyone who's available for an honor guard. And so now you have a fire department honor guard, a county-based honor guard, a regional honor guard that has arrived just to show them the honor, respect, and dignity that they've received and deserved for their service to their country. And so, being able to bring us all together, we already work in unison on a daily basis. Every scene, the three of us are all always together. There's no reason to not have us together under one uniform umbrella to provide the same care and service to those who deserve it. And we're honored to be able to be there. Like you said, we'll support it even out of our own funding just to be able to say that not only is the recipient of this supported, but their family as well. There's that very key aspect of the family needs a lot of help and support in their journey coping with the life event, and that's what we're here for.
I could not have said that any better. That and there's some other things that I've had ideas of that they might be crazy, but I believe it's part of our mission. And I believe we should do it because one, this is, as far as I know, is the first entity to ever do something like this. So even if they're not a line of duty, they are an active member. They pass away somewhere. Say they're based in Florida. They pass away in Montana. I would like one of us, just like the military, to travel with that body
Home.
home, just like you would do if they're passing away in a hospital bed where we have
Yeah.
guards standing by. I think we should do that. Again, I have to figure out those logistics and how that would work. I know the military does it, but again, they're the military. They're a major government entity and have those rights. I want to figure out those logistics and be able to provide those services to those people because I believe first responders, even though we're not military, some are military or veterans. We're serving our country in some way or form.
I agree. We've
Yeah.
put our mind, our body, and our soul in front of our own health and safety for others. And so, absolutely, we absolutely, should have that chance to be supported even on our final stretch home. Um, and there's no reason not to.
And again, it's going to be a hard thing to even. It's still a hard thing to convince people to even be a part of this guard. Not everybody, because people, again, people think I'm nuts.
Yeah, that's fair assessment.
Good, good. That just drives me to do it more because I
Yeah,
believe that's what these people deserve.
agreed.
Some people don't get those honors.
No, they become a very unique experience rather than something that's deserved. It's a very random thought, and it shouldn't be. But at the same time, it shouldn't be easy because if it were easy, then everyone would do it.
Correct. And we're not only doing funerals because, good God, yes, funerals are depressing, and we do need to care about our own mental health with that. I do have peer support people after every funeral. I have people plan to sit down with us. It might not affect us, but I still think it's good for us to sit down with somebody and
No,
talk.
agreed.
But we're gonna do presentation of colors.
Yeah.
We're going to. do parades and stuff. Because what greater honor is it to carry the American flag, which is the greatest country
The world.
in the
Yeah.
world?
I mean, listen, I am a diehard Yankees fan through and through, will be till the day I die. But we presented colors at Citi Field for the Mets game for the first responder night.
Oh God.
And one, I was, treading in enemy territory, but agreed beyond words of what is the greater honor than to step out with our national colors into the middle of center field of a Major League Baseball game, the America's pastime. Doesn't matter who your team is. I didn't care. I could have, and to be honest with you, I could have walked out into Fenway Park as an anti-Boston person myself and had the exact same honor, feel, and emotions that we did anywhere else.
Look, I know we have some colleagues that believe we should only do honor guard, or not honor. Sorry, only do funerals. But there's a bigger picture.
Mhm.
Yes, you guys might not do, even though you're asked, you'll say no to presenting cards. But again, what greater honor is it to carry our national flag?
Agreed. So, I mean,
That's amazing. Not many people get to do that.
and it's also a representation of us as a public safety entity. So and this is my belief, fight me if you want. Um, but going out and presenting colors and showing face and being out in the world supports your service, which then ultimately supports the individuals who have died as a result or who have served and then, passed on. So, you know, if I continue this career and I'm in it for another, 20 more years and, I die of old age, God willing, right? Whoever supports me then and goes out and does something like that, well, you're supporting me no matter what, because I spent my life dedicating my time and effort into emergency medical services. Go out there and support emergency medical services. Go out there and show face. Go out there and show the world who we are, what we do, and why we're doing it.
Yeah, I could go on forever about this.
Oh,
I don't want
please,
to do
how
that
much more
because
time you got? No,
I will bore the hell out of people because not everybody's into honor guard. Honor
no,
guard's
not
a
at all, and
a
that's okay
unique
because I
set
don't
of
want everybody
people.
here either. I don't want everybody here either because once you flood it, it no longer becomes unique. And so
Correct.
you need a group of individuals who are willing to sacrifice a little bit, support the cause, support the team, even if it's not ideal, and work with all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life, from all different places, and come together to do the same job. Doesn't matter what color uniform you're wearing, doesn't matter what patch you wear, doesn't matter your belief. The moment we're there doing the work, everything gets shut off. It's like a light switch. The light goes off. We are focused. We provide the service. We provide the support, provide the honor, dignity, and respect that it's deserved, and we go along and move on. And it takes a unique person for it. And then the best part is we get to spend the time afterwards decompressing and getting to know each other better and building the connections that will then ultimately benefit our profession in the end because you are taking away something from St. Louis that you are going to try and implement somewhere else. And I've been taking from DC and bring it back to New Jersey. So it's a full circle event. It's not just, oh, one thing is the only sole purpose we have. No, there's so much more to the world and so much more to life. Take it all back because it's going to ultimately benefit somebody in the long run. Yeah, we do so much awesome stuff. I don't think we need to be pigeonholed in one thing. That is our bread and butter. Don't get me wrong. Just like cardiac arrest is the bread and butter of EMS,
Mhm.
we do so many more emergencies. We manage so many more critical patients. Don't just pigeonhole yourself into one thing. Broaden your horizons. Do the extra things. Get out there and learn something. It all trickles back to learning something and then bringing it back to somebody else to learn. Do one, see one, teach one.
Correct.
See
And
one,
again,
no, see one, do one, teach one. That's
I
it.
can't thank you enough of being in charge of our EMS division.
You had to
Uh,
twist my arm, and I'm glad you did because this is going to
Dave
be
Hathaway
phenomenal.
actually texted me the other day and asked me who was in charge of the EMS division. I said, John is. "You're gonna pick the better person." I was like, "I know. That's exactly why I picked him."
That's very humbling coming from Dave, and I appreciate that support.
Um,
This is gonna be a great it's been a process, it's been a great process, and I think that's what makes it so much more incredible when we finally get to that point where we're finally out there, the journey that we've taken to get there. That's gonna be the fun part, and I say the same thing to Joe all the time, like, it's been a pain in the ass for some of the, some of the waiting games to getting our credentialing and some of our federal forms taken care of, but that journey, and then getting to meet the people on the way, and then, taking those people to help us support the mission. They say it in regular life. It takes a village, 1,000%. We're taking a
uh-huh.
village. We're using this village to build and make everything the way it should be to support the rest of the village, to support the rest of the community. This both undertakings. I'm so excited for both of them because they both are setting a course for something that hasn't been done before, and we're hopefully going to now bridge that gap to bring more out. Because listen, it's not about competition. There's only a handful of active EMS honor guards in New Jersey. I want there to be all of them. I want everyone to be active because the more people we have, no matter the patch and the uniform, the more support we have for the mission that we're trying to accomplish. So same thing. If we are the first team that is blended all three services, let's keep building. Let someone else come up with that same plan because then we can then team up with them and we can continue to bring that mission across the world. And then
100%.
we keep meeting more and more people and we keep building this big family. And that's the best part about it.
Again, I can't thank United We Rescue enough for supporting this idea. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank anybody who's been a part of the United National Honor Guard enough.
We're grateful you took the charge, and that's the best part is someone needed to take it, you took it, and we're running with it, and that's it's
And
gonna be
thank
incredible.
you for supporting me through my breakdowns and working me through it.
I'm glad you put your trust in the colorblind kid for
Oh
all
my god.
your
That's a
patch
whole nother
designs.
that's a whole nother story. What did I just text you the other day? Oh,
The jacket colors. "Hey, does this blue look better to you?" I'm like, "Well, the fucking
this
colorblind kid
hold
doesn't
on.
give a shit."
For the listeners, we have dark no, it's navy blue and then dark navy blue. I sent a text message to John, the colorblind kid. Which which color looks better?
I can guarantee that in the daylight at a certain, angle from the sun, you put the two of them next to each other, and 1,000% they are different. But goddamn, I'm looking at the screen going, "Yep, whichever you feel is the best." Also, more importantly, whichever one's available, that really should probably be the one
And
that we
that
go
that
with.
was the biggest thing because one of them wasn't available until I
Yeah,
wouldn't
like
have my
months in
uniform in time
advance.
for
Yeah.
our event. And then I sent the picture to all the command staff and they're like, the one and they all without them knowing the information, they all picked the one that was available.
And I couldn't even see it. And that's just the way the cookie crumbled. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could be of service.
John, I can't thank you enough for coming on again. I'm sure we're gonna have you on more times. You're gonna be a co-host on some of our podcasts in the near future, which is gonna be awesome.
Oh, I look forward to
Even
it.
with Brandon, I'm excited. This podcast has been eye-opening for a lot of us in the way it's involved in the last couple months because we had to
Yeah.
rebrand. I can't believe what it's become already so quickly.
The topics and the expertise and the communication and the stories across the board. I'm almost caught up. I have a couple that I still have to catch up on, but for the ones that I've listened to, I've been able to connect with every single person and a story they've told or part of their current profession, whatever the case may be. Like there was something from everyone's episode that stood out that I can relate to, and I'm hoping somebody has that feeling here too. But the point is that it's real stories. We're not just trying to push a narrative. We're not trying to push rhetoric. It's, we're all real. We've experienced life. We're experiencing the business of, public safety, and we're hoping to reach other people if they're in a good place, if they're not in a good place, and they have an opportunity to connect with the stories, the sentiment, the concepts, and help them grow and get bigger and better. Done a lot in 20 years, and my favorite part is the education side. And that's why I took on field training. I'm an ACLS PALS instructor. I have instructorships and so many other things, driver training, especially. Being able to pass that along has been my takeaway from 20 years. And so, if you can sit there and say, hey, education is kind of something that interests me, great. I'm glad you can take that away. Or if I have, fellow educators who go, yeah, being able to give to the next generation is where my passion lies. So, your communicator, your police officer, your, former military now, uh, color guard expert. Everyone's got a story, and somehow we all connect to every little piece. And that's been the beautiful thing about listening to all these episodes coming through up until today. So
I appreciate that.
I came, loaded with some material to be ready to kind of, express some of that feeling and that sentiment. So I look forward to how this continues to grow, and I look forward to being the other talking head in the background to get to meet some of these people and hear their stories and interact. And I think people just need a place to talk. And clearly, we can just talk and talk and talk and
And talk.
talk.
This is
Um,
definitely gonna be our longest episode of our current what
we,
we
we
have of episodes.
we did that last time too, so I'm not
We did do that last time. We
not
can,
surprised.
and honestly, we could keep on going. I'm sure my wife is going to kill me if I don't go and eat eventually,
Yeah, it's
but
fine.
I
She loves me. It's okay. I love her back. We're fine.
this is fair, and that's the only okay, as soon as I said, "Nancy's at work, and Brandon's not on," because Brandon usually has a time limit because he's got kids, he's
Yeah.
got wife. Very fair. I also have kids and I have a wife, but I deal with those consequences later.
I got a set of furry children who are elderly, so they sleep and they're comfortable in their own little beds and they're hanging out right now. So I don't have to worry about them right now.
My wife goes I tell her those things, she goes, "Oh god."
All right, I'll
I
see
was
you
like
tomorrow.
so, with all that being said, you guys, please pray for your first responders, fire, EMS, law enforcement, military veterans. John, thank you for being on. This has been the Line in the Oath. Guys, have a good night, evening, day, whenever time you listen to this.